The main holdup for that property is Dozier Road. It hasn't been paved at this point. We anticipate that work to start this month. The developers asked until substantial completion of that road so that they can access the site. And so I'm going to say that we should probably push that to Q3 just to give enough time and be realistic. If we do it earlier, we do it earlier, but Q3 would be a more realistic approach. The SANE study, we've talked about that at the last few council meetings. You had a copy of it in your packets at the last council meeting for kind of moving along our comprehensive and strategic plan for connector roads. And I think the two that we identified that we wanted to do a further dive on dealt with somewhere in the Porter-Lunsford Shellfield area connecting into Rucker Boulevard, and subsequently a road that would connect from the Coppinville area, US 84 towards Dothan into Rucker Boulevard. And so that is on your agenda tonight if you deem it worthy to proceed, amend the budget, and authorize that contract for the mayor to execute. Recommendation from the ADVA, that's complete. The 772 agreement we had looked at for potential development, that is going to be on hold indefinitely at this point. So I think we can remove that altogether. That's not a fault on the city or the staff. The developer has decided not to pursue that project at this time. Lighting project on the southern bypass. At this point, we're pushing 18 to 20 months on that, and I would love to tell you that that's a realistic Q2 goal. It is continues to go back and forth with the power company and AlDOT for review. As we've talked about, it was on the either side of the exterior of the southern bypass. AlDOT recommended that they put it and approved it at the local level to go into the middle, into the median. Subsequently, the Montgomery office reviewed it. They asked them to relocate it out on the exterior again, and that plan is still with the engineering office for review from AlDOT. So I think we can leave it as a Q2 goal and hope that for the best. But I'm not optimistic about it, even if it was a Q4 goal at this point. Project Panama development agreement, that's probably a good Q2 goal, and bond issue. I don't know if that project were to occur, if that would even be necessary. So I think leaving those as Q2 goal would be acceptable. And then cost briefing and decision, potentially a second or third quarter issue. As I talked to you about at the last council meeting, the power company identified our water that is actually running interior of the light poles downtown. And so they said that that's not to code. And I think Barry agreed with that assessment. We've looked at that. And so at this point, our recommendation and feedback to the power company has been proceed as if we're going to remove the water from the interior of the poles to essentially impact the lighting. So in other words, the power company said, we're not going to touch those lights and agree to maintain them as long as there's water in the interior of the poles. So we are going to effectively come up with a plan to either modify the interior if there's a way we can wrap it, look at ways to do that, or if we need to water it, somebody with a 5-gallon bucket walking down the street if we want to put plants there at all. But that's going to be our problem. To the power company, we've told them we will, vacate the water. Please give us a proposal. So we're moving along those lines, and I think a Q2 goal would be acceptable. I told them that I needed that information no later than June, particularly for the budgeting process for FY25. The Highway 27 Shellfield improvements, I haven't heard any different. I think that is still estimated to go to start in the summer of 24. Is that still right? Okay. And then just got an email this afternoon from the city attorney regarding the farmer's market property. And that land purchase agreement draft has been sent to the property owners. I think there are two that were looking for concurrence. One of them wrote back and concurred with it, and waiting on the other one. Once we get the concurrence from both property owners, we will set a closing date and move forward with that.
Council's already approved that, right?
I believe that you approved moving forward, but I'm not 100% actually, Councilman.
Okay.
Beverly, do you remember? Yeah, we would need to bring you an action.
Okay.
I think we discussed it in an executive session. Subsequently, the contract basically said that we had with them, the lease we had with them gave the city first option, first right of refusal on the property. So we're just, right now we're in the point where we're going to exercise that option and bring that contract for your review. But the amount was specified, the appraisal was done on it, and that was submitted to you for your review. But you haven't officially voted on it, I don't think.
Okay.
And then I think we can set up a Q2 meeting on stakeholders for medical facilities and services. I think we've got a good path ahead in speaking to our healthcare authority and local hospital and other healthcare providers here to try to set up some sort of a meeting to discuss, maybe a path ahead to identify what our potential weaknesses are within the healthcare industry, if we have any at all. But in talking to all of them right now, I think the best thing we can do is try to figure out a way to assess what we've got to see if there's really, I hear, externally from other people, and if they've even experienced, shortcomings in certain areas within the medical industry here in Enterprise. But really to quantify and get some data on, a city the size of Enterprise, who we serve, what is our market, what should we have, what don't we have. And I think that's going to take an external party, a third party, to really assess that. And so I think that's one of the things we needed to discuss at that meeting.
Okay. Any questions of Jonathan on those recommendations on our Q1 goals that still had some outstanding items? Any questions, concerns on that? So I'll make those changes and add those to our Q2 goals. Now let's look at our already established Q2 goals, which is the second section on your handout there. So Jonathan, you want to take the lead on this, or?
Sure, I can. On the 3-year water and street resurfacing plan, including a PCI study, I just want to refresh my memory. Would you like us to look at refreshing the PCI study? Because what I recalled is some of those streets, I think that was over 4 years ago, that when they were rated, we kind of want to assess if some of the 60s had come down to a 50 or a 40, had come down to a 30, so forth and so on, as well as taking what we've already identified as kind of a failing or strained street and giving you a plan ahead so that we could kind of take the water projects, because at this point, all but maybe 6 streets are not waiting on, anything other than water line replacement, whether that's services or mains in the street, stuff like that. So is that kind of the report that you would like?
That's consistent with my recollection of the meeting. Is we want from you and Barry and staff, of course, including water in with this, a plan forward for the next 3 years of, and that may include a new PCI study. I know that's as part of the plan. Y'all may come back and say, we think we need to do a new study in 2027 or 2026 or.
Okay.
I mean.
Yeah, I think what we've done so far is we've identified, and I think we've done a good job working with the water department. Alan's been really helpful on this, Glenn, Barry. And I think we do have a 3-year plan to get what we know has been identified already as kind of 40 or less under the PCI, and we can fit that within the current, budget framework that we set somewhere in the $1 million to $2 million a year range in street resurfacing. So assuming the budget holds for those, and we project those out 3 years, what we're left with is, do we need to re-engage and see what other streets, how far they've digressed, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Everybody good with that? Just, I guess, bring us a recommendation for the next 3 years and what that may look like, specifically a proposed / tentative in pencil takedown order, because I know we get a lot of questions, I know I do at least, about, hey, what about this street? What about that street?
I think we can get that to you very quickly.
Okay.
And then it's about what to do after that list.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think we can do that in Q2. That's an achievable goal.
Perfect.
On the PV sports fields complex phase 2, that's a question that Billy Powell asked me earlier today. Part of that process to start that work means that we're going to, at some point soon, need to essentially close down PV Park for a period of time to the public. I don't think that, and our city attorney's here, so maybe I'll ask her to correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we need council action necessarily to do that any more than we would if, we're working on a street and we need to close it down for a period of time, or renovating a building. But I just wanted to make you aware that will happen probably sometime in April or May, and we'll certainly organize that through the mayor's office and get a press release out to the public, notifying them that it's been, this is the projected time frame that park will be, sort of off limits or closed for public use during the construction period. It's not one of those projects that we went out to bid on, though, because we're using in-house forces. So how do you? Okay. She said we're okay with that.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that there's no issues, and if you do happen to get calls from your constituents that.
Yeah. Of course, I would assume at some point the new fields will be coming online. There may be some period of time where they're both not open, right? But
there could be, but I think those will be coming online certainly this year. I would say maybe third quarter. Is that still a true statement? May or June?
May or June. So
maybe second quarter.
So around the time we're taking PD out of commission, we should be opening up more park space.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any concerns there? So that's a Q2 goal.
Okay. Start and complete the current TAP project. I haven't received an update on that, Barry. Is that an achievable goal for Q2?
Gentlemen, I got received we did a bid opening this morning at 10 o'clock in the engineering's office, and those bids came in about at what our budget price was that was put in for the grant application. So the engineer is reviewing those bid tabs currently as we speak, submitting those into ALDOT for the TAP grant, and we'll get back with us in the next 2 weeks with a recommendation to move forward with that project.
So, I asked Barry about that because it says start and complete. I think start achievable in Q2, complete achievable in Q3.
Gotcha.
The wastewater treatment plant upgrades, bid and award contract. I saw something about that as well that came up. Is that on the agenda tonight? No, this was through the Regional Planning Commission. So what's the status on, are we going to be able to, Q3, okay. We need to shift that, the wastewater treatment plant upgrades, bid and award contract to Q3.
Got it.
Fund a study on the 2 specific connectivity routes. So again, that's on your agenda tonight. That could end up, I guess we're in Q2 now, so that could be an early win if you approve it. Pave Dozier Road this month. In the next 2 weeks, we should be starting that project. I think that's an accurate goal for Q2. ADVA cash funding per agreement. We can work with our new city attorney to execute those documents. They have not asked us to submit that, but I know that timeframe's coming up pretty quickly, and I would imagine once we've fulfilled our obligation on Dozier Road, that would be a good time to execute that. Update the council on Operation Clean Sweep. I think you made that a quarterly goal
Right, I believe every quarter.
on the nuisance properties, so
Yeah, we just wanted a quarterly update.
yeah. Council to get a report on the effectiveness of public transportation program. That's actually an attainable goal. I think I've talked to you all a little bit about that in the past. They are monitoring some good numbers, and I'm really proud of the way that the community has benefited from the public transportation. And I'll make sure that we get somebody in during the second quarter to share those numbers with you and the public. Let's see, draft bylaws for the land bank. We did hear from Ben Goldman with Andy Arundel, who we've consulted with about the land bank authority. So I think we are close to having that, and I think at this point maybe we would want to add in there. It's right underneath it. Okay, slate board members for the land bank. So we can kind of do that both in Q2, and probably before we move forward with that, we will vet, similar to, I assume, what you're doing tonight with the board members, kind of consolidate a list based on the recommendations that are written in the bylaws, and then present you that. And if there's good name and character issues or something like that that we're not aware of as a group, if somebody has those concerns, they can bring them forward at that time. 3-year road paving schedule that includes a PCI study. So I think that in the first thing we started out with, maybe we can consolidate those as a same goal.
Yeah, we had that on Q1, 3-year road paving.
Should be the first and the last bullet on
Right.
under Vision Q2.
Yeah, it looks like it somehow got included in both quarters, but yeah, looks like.
Report on a new recreation center, user fees and operations cost. I think Blake has done that, has that presentation ready to brief anyway. So I think that'll be an easy one to get to you at one of the next council meetings here early on and get another early win on the Q2. Blake and Billy and their staff at Parks and Rec have been working really hard on a proposal to get to you and to the public. We want to make sure we do it right and that we're fair with how we present this and we meet your intent. So I'd like to commend them on the hard work that they've had on that plan. It's certainly not easy. Adopt a plan with location for municipal elections. It's something Beverly and I have worked on a little bit. Something we talked about coming up in 25. We shifted off of the 24 cycle under state law. They moved it to 25. So there's going to be some tore down the old polling location at the old rec center. So really it's a matter of where do we want to have that precinct? Where does it make sense to do that? And then additionally, if you recall during the strategic planning, something that I haven't been through an election here with the city, but Beverly brought up some good points about the amount of staff and things that make that either run smoothly or create a lot of extra work in her office. And so we had talked about the potential to budget for additional staff for that in the next year. And so I think we're close to having some numbers on that we can get to you here in the second quarter. Incentive pay for EMS certified firefighters. I believe we've moved forward with that already.
We have.
Under Chief's recommendation and your approval, I think 2 meetings ago. The nuisance property. So let's go back here under the nuisance properties under Q2. That's the quarterly report. Do you want to kind of consolidate again under that with clean sweep?
I think so, yeah.
And I guess what are we calling that now? I just remembered I'm under a trademark thing or something. Does anybody, Thomas? Do we have a new name for that? Okay.
We went real vanilla.
Blight elimination program. So I want to make sure that I don't do that or get in trouble for copyright or trademark infringement here. Homelessness. This is another one of those, kind of like our medical thing. I mean, we see it. Everybody, I think, in town from time to time, you see somebody, whether you're shopping or going down Main Street or a wooded area, and some cases it's more prevalent in certain areas than others, but we don't really have our hands around, what the scope of homelessness in that situation is here in Enterprise. So, I'm going to have to defer to kind of our police chief and city attorney and some others to really try to think through, who can we get to call? If we have a problem and we want to engineer a road, I know a short list of people we can contact. But council, do you have any thoughts about, how we go about defining the homeless problem, explore solutions, and identify stakeholders?
Well, I don't know what to say. But, we know there is a problem and we see it. So we definitely need to start asking some questions to maybe other, some outside resources as to how to even get started.
Yeah,
To seeing what some things that we can do as a city.
It may just deserve some dedicated time in one of our work sessions coming up in the second quarter. Maybe devote 30 minutes or so, just some roundtable discussion, get the discussion going.
I think Johnny Belcher with Christian Mission would be a good one.
Yeah.
It's a source to help us.
So maybe just do a
And others.
roundtable. So we can identify, and with your input, some stakeholders that we can
Yeah.
get around to do that. I just don't want to miss the goal, and it's defined as define the problem. I'm not sure that that's a realistic goal for the city staff to do.
It's gonna
Yeah,
take
we may have to break this
outside.
down into multiple parts. The first thing may be just to in second quarter just to have maybe a roundtable discussion with some of the community stakeholders.
Okay. I'll work on setting that up with stakeholders, and then Councilman Townsend, would you like me to coordinate with you for time? Okay. Online revenue and engineering staff brief council on progress and options. So these are things that Councilman Pageant was part of the Munis discussion that we had recently. I do not think that that's a realistic Q2 goal based on the bombshell that we were kind of dropped with at our Munis discussion. We had gone through this and implemented a new financial software update last year. And apparently there are several new offerings that Munis now has that are not compatible with our current software. We would have to buy or add. So from an implementation side, I don't think we can do it Q2. It may be realistic to do it this calendar year. Councilman Pageant, what are your thoughts on that?
I think some of that's still waiting on some answers that we asked in that last meeting, but I think you're right. Q2 is probably a little too soon.
Do we need some activity in Q2 on this subject just to make sure we're still trending towards accomplishing
I
a
think
goal?
maybe changing that to, that's fine. Yeah, we can certainly brief the council on the progress and options that we've got. I think I read that incorrectly.
Yeah, all we're asking for is a briefing on the progress. We're not asking for a specific benchmark be accomplished.
Okay. My apologies. A-Trip 2 grant. So again, we can have further discussion about it. That was one option that was identified on the A-Trip 2. If that route is something once this project lets, I think we're eligible again to, as I understand it, to apply for the next round of ATRIP too.
This is the Highway 27 Shellfield project, once that lets?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's our current ATRIP grant. So
Okay.
once that lets, we would be eligible to apply for another round of ATRIP 2 funding. Is that still the area? That's the area that the staff identified as a potential need within the community. Again, those projects are capped typically at $2 million. This is what we ran into. At the last time, AlDOT said, hey, and this is what we signed up for. If the funds run out, the project exceeds $2 million, or the city's responsible for the rest.
Mhm.
So we were able to get some HSIP money on that, but the project had gone to $5 million. HSIP only got us to $3 million, which is a highway safety improvement funds. But I still would recommend that as and it has to, just to make sure the council remembers, the ATRIP 2 program is designed for state routes. So it's not like we could take this and do something on College Street or any other street that's a city-owned street. It's got to improve connectivity, safety, or otherwise on a state route. So welcome to any other suggestions you might have. That's the one we identified as kind of a next step to go after, but it's your.
Does anybody have any heartburn continuing on with that? I certainly don't. Okay.
And then the Aviator Monument Project, I know Tammy and Kay have been working on that. I think we can certainly provide an update on where we're at on that project.
All right. Is any other items that council thinks needs to be on our radar for the second quarter as far as council initiatives go? All right, looks like we've got a list. I'll take this and clean it up and do an updated strategic plan. Move those things to Q3 and Q4 that needed and make these slight tweaks. But sounds like we've got our work cut out for us, or at least the staff does.
Yes, sir.
We do the easy part, all right? All right. Thank you all for that. We'll move on to our next item, which is our board appointments. So if you remember, we briefly discussed this at our last board meeting. I handed out this handout that you all should have in your packet with the agreed upon nomination schedule. Our plan was to circle back on that this evening, make sure there were no questions or problems. If you've got some recommendations, we can go ahead and get those out there. If not, our plan would be to have those to Jonathan and to Beverly by our next council meeting, because we plan to make these appointments at the next council meeting. So, what I'll do is I'll just go down the list and y'all just give the rest of us an update. If you've already got the nomination, it's ideally we kind of get that name out there in the public record for a couple of weeks. Gives us all an opportunity to interview that person and talk to them. And I've seen some volunteer forms across the email as recently as today. So, Scotty, this Board of Education, you got an update on that for us?
Yes, I'd like to submit Mr. Don Weaver's name for that Board of Education position.
All right.
And you all saw his
Yeah.
resume today.
Yeah, I believe the volunteer form was submitted to us.
And a resume along with it, too.
Yeah. So Beverly's got that on file, so Don Weaver, all right. Sonia, the incubator seat number 3, which is currently occupied by Sue Ellen Mitchell. She had agreed to serve again if so appointed. What you have any updates on that?
I'm fine with that
Okay.
nomination, as well as the following one the following one for the ID board.
All right, yeah, so that's seat 2 for the ID board, is Billy Cotter. He was willing to serve again also. The next item was Eugene Zoning Board of Adjustments. That's currently occupied by Warren Byron. Had agreed to serve again if we were up to renominating him. Any update on that, Eugene?
No, I plan on renominating Warren.
All right. Next one is seat number 5 for the library board. Greg, did you have an update on that?
Yeah, I've actually got some questions on it that all sort of came up
Okay.
late this afternoon. I didn't have time to get clarified. The term length on here says 4 years, but the library's website says 2 years
Mhm.
and no more than 2 consecutive terms.
Yeah, there's definitely some discrepancies between their own internal board policies. This is something that Jonathan and I discussed with Sheila and the council's policies, which are actually set by statute, which we can have our city attorney research. But the appointment, by my understanding, is it's an appointment of the Enterprise City Council, not both nominated and appointed by the city council in 4-year terms, and there's no stipulation in the statute that stipulates board term limits or anything like that.
Okay.
Ashley, I don't want to put you on the spot on that because I'm sure you probably don't have that on the tip of your tongue, but that's something we can certainly get verified over the next 2 weeks. Does that sound like a good plan?
Yeah, I just,
If there's some uncertainty, on that, and there's no, what I need to do is show you what the research that Jonathan and Beverly and myself did over the last couple of months on kind of the timeline of how we got the current library board we have and the statute language, irregardless of any language in the library's internal, it's the council's job to make those appointments. So anyways, I'm happy to share that in the coming days. So zoning board of adjustment, that was also yours, Greg. That's a vacant seat for the supernumerary. Did you have an update on that one?
I do not have an update on that
Okay.
tonight.
So backing up, I got ahead of us. So the zoning board of adjustments seat number 7 supernumerary for Eugene. We're actually, what we need to do is move Warren into the seat being vacated by Becky Hancock. So just give you all a heads up when the appointing resolutions come out. Warren's currently sitting in 7 supernumerary. He will be elevated to 5 because he's currently supernumerary. So whenever there's a vacancy in the regular, what we need to do, unless the council disagrees, is move that person into a regular spot, leaving the vacancy in the supernumerary. Does that make sense?
Warren's getting a promotion.
Yeah, exactly.
So then that's going to
we-
make Eugene's seat
So
vacant?
and Beverly and Jonathan and I will make sure the appointing resolutions are accurate, but there'll be a little bit of musical chairs there, but that'll be because it just makes sense to move the person with experience into the regular spot. So speaking of zoning board of adjustments, seat number 5, Scotty, do you have an update on that one?
No, because my understanding was with Becky Hancock, that she had resigned. There was somebody in that position, is what I was told. So that,
Jonathan, you want
yeah,
to speak to
clear
that?
that up.
There was an appointment last year, and I can't remember who was in there. Beverly, do you remember?
They took Becky's place?
I think she resigned
I
mid-year.
think it was Robin Boyd.
Okay, I do remember that.
That's right.
And I think that that was one of the areas where we got feedback from the Board of Adjustments about the
Yes.
supernumerary
Correct.
positions, and then we looked into that last year, so I do remember that.
Okay, so Scotty, you just need to confirm with Robin whether she wants to continue to serve, and then you decide whether you're going to reappoint her or not.
Okay, thank you.
So the next two on here were mine. So Robin Thompson I'm going to renominate Robin Thompson for the ID board, and Charlie Merritt, that seat is now vacant. I'm going to nominate Blake Woodall for that, and I sent y'all over Blake's volunteer form. The next item, Eugene, I believe you said you were going to continue to serve out the rest of your council term in the water board seat, right?
That's correct.
So we will renominate Eugene there. And then the last item is the library board seat. This was not in the normal rotation. This was brought up because of a resignation by Carol Dreilinger. That was my nomination. So I'm going to nominate Ben Bowden for that position, and I forwarded his, and Beverly should have on file his volunteer form. So that completes those. So Greg and Scotty, y'all still have a little bit of work to do. If y'all could, when you decide what we're going to do there, just forward us and make sure you get that on file with Beverly in case a member of the public would like access to that in the volunteer form.
Yeah, I'll get you something tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, just copy Beverly on that so it's on file. All right. So any other discussion, questions on the board appointments?
I just want to make sure I'm clear about something, Mr.
Okay.
President. The seat that was occupied by Becky Hancock is currently occupied by Robin Foy?
Apparently so.
Okay.
My
So-
sheet was wrong. She had resigned. We'll get that confirmed then.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe that's accurate, and so if you recall, one of the problems in the past had been when somebody was reappointed, they were appointed for a new 4-year term in the middle of someone else's 4-year term when somebody resigned. So I think what Councilman Townsend is saying on this one is that, Becky Hancock had a term that was set to expire
Yeah.
this year.
Okay.
And so Robin Foy was, I guess, to serve till the end of that term.
Yeah, she only serves the remainder of the unexpired portion.
So should she not be recommended to continue, that it would be assumed that, I don't want to say assumed, that Warren would get an upgrade,
So
so to speak, as we said.
So
to this
Warren's
new
going to
seat?
slide into, well, I guess we'll have to get that sorted out. That's a good question. Yeah, we'll have to get that sorted out.
Okay.
You're right, because that position is not technically vacant anymore. Okay. Yeah, and I apologize for that. I was operating on last year's list. I had forgotten. I just failed to notice that Becky had resigned, so that's entirely my fault. Any other questions on board appointments? I will say, the way we're doing it now with seats, and we're getting those seat numbers in the appointing resolutions with defined terms. It made the research on the library board much easier to go back, look at the minutes, read what seat they're in, when their term is, so that's already paying dividends. Those changes we made at the beginning of our term. All right, we've got a few minutes here. Let's take about 10 minutes to look at our council meeting agenda for this evening. So we'll have, as always, our roll call, prayer and pledge of allegiance, approve the agenda, then the consent agenda, which consists of work session minutes and council meeting minutes from March 19th. We've got our accounts payables, A and B, which were in our packets distributed and posted online on Friday. Then we've got the various contract billings for Holland Contracting for the corporate hangar, the barge for the corporate hangar also, and CDG invoices for the rec center. And then we've got Fine Getty, which is our monthly state governmental affairs contract services. Any questions on the consent agenda? All right, then we'll move on to some recognitions of Spelling Bee champ, boys basketball, and a permit request for the Bowleyville 100. And then we'll have privilege of the floor before moving on to old business. So we're going to vacate an unnamed road. Remind us what the unnamed road is.
Council, the property that the ID Board is looking to acquire, roughly 296 acres off of, trying to remember, Moats Road and US 84, has on GIS, you'll see it has an unnamed road that has not been in use. It's been in the same family that traverses that property from Moats Road to US 84. The owners have basically requested that road be vacated and believe that it is, but in an abundance of caution, the former city attorney who had been working on that, Rainer Cotter, he basically said we need to follow this process if the ID Board acquires it so that they have clear title to it and there's no dispute with somebody coming back saying, hey, this road was in existence, you didn't vacate it, and then the property becomes unusable. So it allows the property to be bought with clear title if the ID Board decides to purchase it.
Okay, so we're confident that all the reporting requirements have been met and that there's,
I mean, I am.
Yeah.
Beverly sent me to the courthouse a month ago or so.
yeah.
So,
We mailed out letters and ran the. ad
Okay,
for it.
yeah, and it's bisecting private property that's the public has not had access to for years, right?
for decades.
Decades.
And it's been fenced off.
Okay. All right, so we're not expecting anybody to be impacted other than the current property owners, and they're well aware.
Yeah, all three families that own property that touch the road are in agreement that they would like it vacated.
Okay. Any questions on the vacation? Of course, we'll have a public hearing tonight on that. So then we've got bid recommendations from engineering, public works, and let's see who else. Looks like that's it. So that would be Barry. Barry, anything we need to know on any of these? These were budgeted items, right?
Yes, sir. All these vehicles were budgeted items in the current budget, and all the bid prices are under budget. There is one that I would point out to you, if you would, on number 9, which was the 1-ton vehicles. We found with Buster Miles on several of their bids, this is the only one that really shows up that there was a cheaper alternative, but those vehicles were already sold by the time we took the bid, so he turned his bid packages in early. And because vehicles are flying off the shelf, especially when they can get one that's already built like that, it was already sold by the time that we opened bids for it. So really, like on 09, which is the last one there, I did make a recommendation that we buy a more expensive vehicle at $67,000 compared to a low bid of $64,000. Reason being is that truck is on the lot and we can get it today, where if we do the state bid, they're telling us it's a minimum of 90 days out if they can get one. So that's one that's urgent for Public Works to have at their disposal now. It's a truck that's down. So it's still under budget, and it was my recommendation to go with that number because the bid package was set up that it was in the best interest of the city. If there was something there that was available now, that we could go not necessarily with the lowest bid.
And that keeps us in line with state bid law.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that stipulation you put in the bid rec.
Yes, sir. And this is the only one that's like that.
Okay. Any questions on that? A little departure from normal practice. Okay. All right. Next item is amending the ordinance to the amend ordinance 060485 from all the way back in 1985, which I believe is when the city went wet. Is that correct?
I believe that's correct, Councilman.
All right.
So this does not take away or amend the amount of 300 feet from churches. This was amended based on some feedback that we received from developers, particularly in the downtown area, but potentially in other areas where you have zero lot lines. And, churches have purchased additional property. So what our definition in the ordinance of any church building meant, you could say any property that the church owns. And if you look historically, that has not been the case. It's been measured front door to front door of the main sanctuary, and that's kind of been the standard. But it is open for interpretation, and so this clarifies that distance of measurement and how we would measure it, and sets the table for developers to understand how we're going to measure that 300 feet when they're looking to develop
So
property.
what y'all are asking for is us to amend the ordinance to align with the city's traditional interpretation and make sure that the letter of the law is consistent with the traditional
Yeah,
interpretation
just
of
so
the law.
developers and bureaucrats like me get to, are on the same page about how we're going to measure
Yeah.
things.
Okay. All right. Obviously, we'll need to lay this over tonight, but are there any questions, concerns about that? I believe we had briefly discussed this before. All right, we'll lay that over and bring it up at next meeting. Next item is a grant application for industrial access.
So again, this grant process through the state Road and Bridge Corporation provides the city can, for an industrial project that potentially create jobs, can apply for industrial access. I think it's typically capped at about $1.2 million, and I think they allocate about $12 million a year for those funds. They meet typically 3 or 4 times a year to consider grant applications. The grant applications for the next round of funding are due this Friday. They will not meet until June to consider the grant applications. So, we don't know if we're going to get awarded the grant or anything else, but in order to apply, we needed to go ahead and notify you, and there would be some, engineering and design costs, et cetera, that would go into it. But we do think it would be in furtherance of, job creation efforts here in Enterprise.
All right. Any concerns, questions on the industrial access grant? All right. So we're basically out of time. So Jonathan, why don't you, and any other staff members that may be involved in the remaining items that we didn't have time to discuss, y'all be ready during the council meeting to brief us before we vote on those. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we'll adjourn our council meeting and reconvene in about 5 minutes in our regular council meeting. I'm sorry, we'll adjourn the work session and reconvene in council meeting.
Grateful for who you are. God, grateful for the celebration week that we just had that we call Holy Week. And God, I thank you for this council. I thank you for this city. Lord, I thank you for all the leadership. God, your word tells us that if anyone lacks wisdom, let him ask. And God, I do not believe we're lacking wisdom, but God, we always call upon you for wisdom. God, the agenda is heavy tonight. And so, Lord, I just pray for wisdom as the council and this city navigates it. Lord, I thank you again for each leader. Lord, I thank you for their desire to serve well. And Lord, I just pray your blessing on them, on families. And Lord, as we continue to invest in our city, God, and to use resources wisely, Lord, we know that you are the one who can guide us and direct us in that. And so for each one that has a position of leadership, each citizen, Lord, let us take our role seriously. And God, let us serve you well, ultimately. God, we love you and we thank you for your son, Jesus. And it's in his name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance.
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
Thank you. You may be seated. All right, council, you should have the agenda in front of you as discussed in the work session prior to this meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda of the meeting as submitted.
I move to approve the agenda of the meeting as submitted.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda of the meeting as submitted. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now consider the consent agenda. All matters listed within the consent agenda have been distributed to each member of the council for review, are considered to be routine, and will be enacted by one motion of the City Council with no separate discussion. If separate discussion is desired on an item, that item may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda by request of a member of the City Council. I'll now call for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Let the record show that I will be abstaining due to a conflict with accounts payable B. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will now recognize, the mayor is now going to recognize the state spelling bee champ, Aiden Nguyen. Mayor?
I would like to ask the council if you would come down. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I would like to recognize Aiden Nguyen, a fifth grader from Hillcrest Elementary School. Aiden, you and your family, please come up, the family, sure. 2 weeks ago, Aiden completed the state spelling bee in Birmingham. He competed against 52 students from across the state. After 17 rounds and almost 4 hours later, Aiden won the title with the word dysphagia, I hope I pronounced whatever, which is a condition difficult in swallowing food or liquid. Aiden now will advance to the Scripps National Spelling Bee next month in Washington, D.C. He and his family will have their expenses paid for the trip by the Alabama District of Kiwanis Foundation. Congratulations, Aiden. We have a certificate of achievement here presented to Aiden by the Office of the Mayor of the City of Enterprise, Alabama, for the Spelling Bee Champion Contest for the state of Alabama. In witness hereof, I have here set unto my hand, caused the seal of this city to be affected, dated the 2nd day of April, 2024, William E. Cooper Sr., Mayor. Aiding, again, congratulations, and here is a certificate of achievement from the City of Enterprise, Alabama.
Thank you.
Turn around and see. Oh, like that.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think we're going to stay down here. So the next item on the agenda is to recognize Mayor Cooper to recognize the EHS boys basketball team on their state runner-up.
I would like to say a few words before I call up the Enterprise High School boys basketball team and their coaches. The Wildcat basketball team, under the direction of head coach Rhett Harrison, reached the 7A state championship game with 3 straight victories over ranked teams and a 26-5 record. While it wasn't exactly the outcome we had hoped for, we are proud to say that this team is the 7A boys basketball state runner-up. The Wildcats lost the finals to the defending state champs. The state title game's appearance was Enterprise's 3rd time in 4 years. Coach Red Harrison was selected as the state Class 7A Coach of the Year. And players Eric Winters and Tucker Wadsworth were named to the All-State team by the Alabama Sports Writers Association. I will now present to each player and coach with a certificate. Please step forward as I call your name.
Walker Clark. So you stay. Malachi Reed. Andrew Purcell. Eric Winters. Jordan Knight. Ben Freeman. Demorion Jones. Keandre Matthews. Tucker Wadsworth. Brady Wadsworth. Aiden Williams. Elijah Howell. The best coach in the state, the 7A Coach of the Year, Coach Rhett Harrelson. Coach John Wadsworth. Coach William Spud Cooper. Coach Rob Cooper.
Coach Harrison.
Okay. Well, thank you all so much for having us. Like you said, you said it right, Mayor Cooper. Last game did not go exactly the way we wanted it. We fully expected to go in and win that game and just fell short. But what an unbelievable run we had with an unbelievable group of guys. I told them at our banquet a couple of weeks ago before spring break that this was truly one of the most fun groups that I've been a part of as a player at the high school, college level, and as a coach because of who they are as people, the work that they put in, the belief they had in one another, and it was truly, truly special. And when you combine all those things, you get special years like we had. Really excited about our group we have coming back, and really proud of our seniors that will be moving on to the next level, entering the next chapter of their lives as well. So special honor to be here. Thank you for inviting us and having us, and go Cats.
This is the fun part. I get to, gentlemen, if you'll come forward, we're going to get a good photo. Council, I'll probably put you on towards the up. Okay. Mayor, I'll put you right in the middle. You're right here on the out middle class. Mayor will be right here. I'm going to have coaches led by Mayor. You guys will get the coaches and also the council. Council come on here. Players around. That's right. Let's do coaches on one side, council on the other. Actually, I'm gonna put the council on this side. Coaches on this side. Okay? On your right, here's the kid, but you get a little bit tighter there. And then, all right, players, I'm gonna do anybody in uniform, what do you got?
Congratulations to Aiden on your spelling bee championships, and certainly congratulations to Coach Harrelson and the Wildcat basketball team for their wonderful season. So we will let the room clear for a few seconds. Our next item is a request to address the council regarding a permit request from Mr. Warren Bowen and the Boll Weevil 100. I will now recognize Warren Bowen, representing Enterprise Lions Club, who has requested to address the council to obtain a permit to hold the Boll Weevil 100 on Saturday, May 4th, 2024, from 7 a.m. until 11 a.m., with a requested street closure of a portion of Alberta Street. The Enterprise Police Department will assist with crossing Dolphin Street and Boll Weevil Circle, and the Coffee County Sheriff's Department will assist riders across Highway 167 and Highway 51. Mr. Byron, anything else that us or the public need to know about your event?
No, sir, you covered it. We're starting back the Boll Weevil 100.
Great.
Since we suspended it before COVID. We were set up the week before COVID shut us down, and but we're backing up, and we're doing a virtual ride as well as an actual ride. The actual ride is what we're asking for the closures for, and all the riders will be observing the rules of the road once they pass these checkpoints from the police department and the sheriff's department. So we're just looking for a great day and a little bit of fundraising.
All right. Chief Moore, you good? Yes, we're good. All right. Just same thing we used to do, right? Yes, we have everything we used to do.
Thank y'all.
Any questions or concerns from the council? All right. We'll entertain a motion to approve the permit request.
I move to approve the permit request as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We now have the part of the meeting called Privilege of the Floor, which allows persons 3 minutes to address the council that are present here this evening on any matters that are not covered in a public hearing tonight. So is there anyone that wishes to take privilege of the floor? All right. Please clearly speak into the microphone, tell us your name and
My name is Jenny Jones, and I'm here to discuss some issues in a residential area called Morgan Subdivision. It's located between Pinehurst and Alberta Street.
I believe you left us some information up here. Is that what
I
we've got?
did.
All right.
Yes, Beverly left some sheets that have just some notes on it that we had taken, and also a copy of the City of Enterprise engineering form that is used for home occupation or home businesses. We have a residence at 211 Cherry Hill that is operating what we and the neighbors refer to as a sawmill business. They have commercial equipment, they have large trailers, huge logs, sawing equipment, just a variety of things outdoors, huge gas cans that are stored there. And many times those equipment items are on trailers in the street. Also, lumber that they're working with, it's some sort of a lumber business, is also evident, and it will be also parked on the street. I left some photographs up there for you to look at. Beverly gave those out, I believe.
Yes, ma'am, we have them.
I have talked to code enforcement, as have several neighbors and a couple of councilmen. We all agree that this does not seem appropriate for a residential area. And if you read the article here that is in our city ordinance, 7.08, regarding home occupation, there are multiple items that do not go along with a home business that is in a residential area. It's noisy, it's dusty, it's a fire hazard. Parking issues with parking big trailers full of lumber parked on a residential 2-lane street that is very busy. Also, it says that the character of the residence should not vary from other homes in the area. It's almost verbatim to the City of Enterprise form that is called Home Occupation Guidelines. It's literally almost word for word. So the city code enforcement tells us that this is in compliance with city ordinance rules, but We, as residents in the area, certainly do not see it that way. It's pretty amazing if you drive by and see what we witness pretty much every day. The other issue, there are several, but the other one is a residence that is located at 202 Cherry Hill. The homeowner passed away in December of 2022. The home was abandoned. The city was notified. And we had issues, of course, with grass, with an abandoned pool, stagnant pool that is black, covered in mosquito larvae. So part of last summer, we spent making phone calls to different people to try to get some help with that, and the city really did help. They were able to contact the maintenance company that was responsible for coming to see about this property. For about 5 months, they mowed, trimmed shrubbery, they put a mesh covering over the swimming pool, secured it so we did not have the mosquito issue. Well, now what has happened, the home has been sold to TP Investments, which is a local attorney and a CPA here in Enterprise. They've removed the hasps that were placed on the gates and all of the locks in the doors, for the doors, outside doors. The pool cover has come off. The gates are unsecure. The house is open. You can open the door. So we are concerned about the possibility of somebody becoming a squatter, moving into the house, drug issues coming there. Also concerned, we have one child in our neighborhood. He's a sweet child, but he is known to wander. And we worry that if something happened, that child came into that backyard, if he fell in the pool, nobody would even know he was missing. Plus, as I said, it was a major issue at the beginning of last summer with mosquitoes. So I'd called the health department. I did not get a response back from them. But we need some help over there. We have several abandoned homes, some of which are owned by investment properties. And I know the city is really trying. I can see a difference all over town, but we need some help there.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Jones.
Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to take the privilege of the floor this evening? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to staff reports. Do we have any staff reports? Chief Moore.
So another shameless plug. We were not able to do our law enforcement torch run due to the inclement weather or the potential of inclement weather. We have moved it to this Friday, 8 o'clock, same place, starting at the monument and running towards the high school where they'll have the events for the Special Olympics. I look forward to it, look forward to seeing everybody else there, and thank you all for your support.
Thank you, Chief. Any other staff reports?
Yes, sir. I just want to get the word out. 635 North Main Street, starting tomorrow and Thursday, we're going to have to reduce North Main down to one lane. That's to do a sewer tap for our new business located there. We'll divert the traffic into one lane. We've got traffic control set up. It's been approved by ALDOT, and we'll do it tomorrow, cover it back up, and then Thursday we will patch it back with asphalt and have it back open sometime Thursday. So it's a 2-day event. But I just wanted to let y'all know, number one, and two, get the word out to the public.
So when do y'all expect that to?
Tomorrow.
At what time?
Tomorrow morning sometime.
So before school?
Shannon? Start at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, so
Okay.
they're planning on it, after school opens.
Good.
That's
All
all
right.
I have, sir.
Billy?
As you drove up, hopefully when you came from the bypass, you saw the part where a lot of piled dirt was going on in front of the dam area. Unfortunately, we had an overflow pipe in that section had opened up a little bit, and it started collapsing, the dirt around it, developing a bigger hole. So what we're having to do, which I say we, the Public Works and Sewer Department is helping out with this, is that we had to dig it up, and we're making the repair on it. But before we could do that, we're needing to lower the dam And I know that we'll be putting out a PSA on about the section of the wall control will be closed, and also hopefully we'll get all that repaired as soon as possible. But just want to inform you all what that is all about. And if you have any questions or anybody calls you all on it, then you're aware.
All right. Thank you, Billy. Any other staff reports? Seeing none, we'll move on to old business. We'll now have a public hearing in consideration of Resolution 040224 to vacate an unnamed road. I introduce Resolution 040224 related to the vacation of an unnamed road. Notice concerning this matter has been published, posted, and served, and before acting on the resolution, the council will hold a public hearing. I'll now call for a public hearing as to anyone seeking to speak on the matter. So the public hearing is now open. Does anyone here wish to speak on the matter, either for or against? All right, seeing no one, I will close the public hearing. So inquiry will now be made to the city clerk, mayor, city council, and city staff present as to if the city has received any written objection to the proposed vacation request. So I'll go in order here. Ms. Sweeney, nothing from the city clerk. Mayor, have you heard anything? City council members? Nothing. City staff, specifically Barry and Jonathan? Any other city staff heard anything on this? All right. So those inquiries have been made. So the hearing's now closed. So I'll call for consideration of Resolution 040224 and entertain a motion.
I move to adopt Resolution 040224.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now review and consider a bid recommendation for pickup trucks from engineering. I introduce and call for consideration of a recommendation from City Engineer, Public Works Director Barry Mott to award bid requisition number 2024-04 to Stivers Ford, State Contract T191 for 5 Ford Maverick trucks at $27,755 each, for a total bid of $138,775. Other bids received are as follows: Buster Miles Automotive, option 1 Ford for $141,300. Buster Miles Automotive, option 2 Ford for $140,995. Buster Miles Automotive, option 3 Chevy, $161,760, and Mitchell Hyundai for $147,995. Do I hear a motion?
I move to award the bid requisition number 202404 to Stivers Ford in the amount of $138,775.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to award bid requisition number 2024-04. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now review and consider bid recommendations for vehicles in the Public Works Department. I introduce and call for consideration of recommendation from City Engineer, Public Works Director Barry Mott to award bids for the following vehicles to the lowest bidders meeting specifications. Bid requisition number 2024-05 to Mitchell Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram for 4 2024 Ram 1500 half-ton 4x2 pickup trucks at $37,376 each, for a total bid of $149,504 for disposal and sanitation. Other bids received are as follows: Stivers Ford for $162,948, Stivers CDJR for $152,911.88, Buster Miles Ford option 1, they did not meet the bid spec. Buster Options Ford option 2, $159,258.68. Buster Miles Ford option 3, $171,816. Do I hear a motion?
I move to award bid requisition number 2024-05 to Mitchell Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in the amount of $149,504.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Bid requisition number 2024-06 to Mitchell Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram for one 2024 Ram 2500 3/4 ton 4x2 pickup truck for sanitation at $40,264. Other bids received are as follows. Stivers Ford for $45,601, Stivers CDJR for $40,924, Buster Miles Automotive Chevy 2500 for $44,911, Buster Miles Automotive Ford Option 1 for $45,309.76, Buster Miles Automotive Ford Option 2 $46,000. Do I hear a motion?
Move to award bid requisition number 2024-06 to Mitchell Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in the amount of $40,264.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to award bid rec number 2024-06. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Bid requisition number 2024-07 to Stivers Ford under state contract T191 to two 2023 Ford F-150 4x4 pickup trucks for sanitation and sewer at $40,332 each for a total bid of $80,664. Other bids received are as follows. Stivers CDJR Option 1, $77,829, which did not meet bid spec. Stivers CDJR Option 2, $82,828 and 50. Mitchell CDJR $82,874. Stivers Ford Option 1, $85,188. Buster Miles Ford Option 1, $85,908. Buster Miles Ford Option 2, $87,931 and 48. Stivers Ford Option 2, $88,360. Do I hear a motion?
I move to award bid requisition number 2024-07 to Stivers Ford in the amount of $80,664.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to award bid rec number 2024-07 to Stivers Ford. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Bid rec number 2024-08 to Mitchell Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram for one 2024 Ram 2500 3/4 ton pickup truck for street at $42,914. Other bids received are as follows. Stivers Ford for $47,738. Stivers CDJR $43,575. Buster Miles Automotive Chevy 2500 for $46,995. Buster Miles Automotive Ford Option 1 for $47,711. Buster Miles Automotive Ford Option 2 for $55,919. Buster Miles Automotive Ford Option 3 for $49,000. Buster Miles Automotive Ford Option 4 for $57,000. Do I hear a motion?
Move to award bid requisition number 2024-08 to Mitchell Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in the amount of $42,914.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Bid requisition number 2024-09 to Buster Miles Automotive for one 2024 Ford F-350 pickup truck with a service body for sewer at $67,000 as it is in stock and ready to ship. Other bids received are as follows. Stivers Ford Option 1, $64,100. Stivers Ford Option 2, $65,646. Buster Miles Automotive Chevy Option 1, $60,931. Buster Miles Automotive Chevy Option 2, $60,931. And Buster Miles Automotive Ford Option 1 for $65,635 76 cents. Do I hear a motion?
I move to award bid requisition number 2024-09 to Buster Miles Automotive in the amount of $67,000.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
Just note, Mr. President, that as it was noted in our work session, that this is an urgent matter, and due to that, we're accepting a higher bid than the lowest bid because of the urgency and that it's still under budget, even though it's higher.
Right. And one other thing that Mr. Mott pointed out to us in the work session was that, this is in compliance with state bid law and that it was in our bid requisition detailing out that the urgency of the matter, we needed it to be in stock. So any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now move on to new business. We'll introduce ordinance 040224 to amend ordinance 060485D ABC. I introduce ordinance 040224 providing to amend section 767 of ordinance 060485D alcoholic beverage control to read as follows. No privilege license shall be issued for the retail sale of alcoholic beverages where the entrance of the establishment for which such license applied for is less than 300 feet from the main entrance of a church's main sanctuary, public or private school building, YMCA building, or public playground. Such distance from a private school building, YMCA building, or public playground shall be set out and measured in a straight line. Such distance from a church shall be measured in a straight line from the current main entrance of the church's predominantly used sanctuary to the main entrance of the establishment seeking the license. This ordinance shall only apply to churches currently in existence and to their current building configuration as of the date of passage of this ordinance. All other provisions of ordinance 060485D remain unchanged. So we will lay over this ordinance to consider at the next council meeting. We'll now review and consider resolutions 040224A to authorize grant application for industrial access. I introduce and call for consideration of resolution 040224A providing notice of the city's intent to apply to the state of Alabama for industrial access funding assistance. The resolution further authorizes the mayor to sign any and all necessary application papers, as well as any contracts or other agreements relative to the implementation of the proposed project. Do I hear a motion?
Move to adopt resolution 040224A.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 040224A. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'll remind staff that we haven't discussed the next item, so if y'all could be ready to discuss these with us. We'll now review and consider resolution 040224B to authorize retention of special counsel. I introduce and call for consideration of resolution 040224B, providing to authorize the retention of Hand Arundel Harrison Sale LLC to design, manage, and prosecute the City of Enterprise's dangerous buildings and unsafe structures program on an as-needed basis. It's consistent with Robert's rules. Let's go ahead and take a motion in a second, and then we'll discuss it with staff. Do I hear a motion?
Move to adopt resolution 040224B.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Ashley, you want to give us an update on this?
Yes, sir. Good evening. As you guys know, we have produced what we believe is a sound policy in order to design, manage, and prosecute the city's dangerous buildings and unsafe structures program. However, it has been brought to our attention that you guys want to do this very robustly and in quite a big fashion and handle this all in one piece. So we feel that it would be better suited to bring in Hand Arundel to come in and help us with this process the first time we do it. Hand Arundel has handled these matters all the way in one up to the state Supreme Court, just to make sure that when we do it the first time, we are doing it correctly, to make sure that we are proactive instead of reactive in this situation.
All right. Any questions? I know Greg and I were briefed on this. I think the rest of you probably had an opportunity to talk with Thomas about unsafe building structures. So everybody comfortable with this? No other questions? All right. Well, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, we'll now consider authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement for Sane Associates Incorporated regarding a feasibility study. I'll call for a motion to authorize the mayor to execute an agreement with Sane Associates Incorporated to prepare a study to evaluate the feasibility of constructing new connections from US 84 to Rucker Boulevard, State Road 248, and Rucker Boulevard to Porter Lunsford Road, County Road 702. Further authorization is requested to amend the FY24 budget by $50,000 to add the cost of the study. Do I hear a motion?
I move to authorize the mayor to execute the agreement with Sane Associates Incorporated as submitted, and further authorize to amend the FY24 budget by $50,000 to add to the cost of the study.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Barry, you want to brief us on this?
Yes, sir. This is the same thing that Mr. Tullis has brought to us a couple of times, talking about a corridor study between 84 and Rucker Boulevard. Sane Associates is on the approved list for consultants that have done this and is currently working for the city. They also have worked on us on previous projects, and it's our recommendation to move forward with a negotiating agreement with up to $50,000 as submitted.
All right, any questions of Barry? I know this is something we've been discussing in our strategic planning meetings for a while. I think everybody's up to date on it. All right, hearing no further discussion, I will call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now consider authorizing the Main Street Director to execute an agreement with Main Street, Alabama. I call for a motion to authorize the Main Street Director to execute a memorandum of agreement between the City of Enterprise and Main Street, Alabama for the city's participation in the Main Street program. The term of agreement is for 1 calendar year beginning June 1, 2024 and ending on May 31, 2025. Do I hear a motion?
I move to authorize the Main Street Director to execute the memorandum of agreement as submitted.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I don't see Mariah here. Mariah, you-
This is the annual agreement with Main Street, Alabama. There haven't really been any changes to the contract other than that we have to update our Sweet Hometown Tour site every year, so no real big difference.
all right, any questions? Any further discussion? All right, we have a motion and a second, so I'll call it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, we'll now consider request for permission to shoot fireworks from Parks and Rec Festival in the Park. I introduce and call for consideration of a request from Blake Moore, Parks and Recreation Superintendent, to shoot fireworks on Saturday, May 4th, 2024, during the festival in the park. All safety requirements will be met by working with Chief Moore and Chief Davis, and the show will be contracted through Pyro Productions Incorporated at a cost of $5,512.50. Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve the request to shoot fireworks as submitted.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Moore?
Thank you, Council. Nothing really more to add to that. May 4th is our annual festival in the park. This will be the 25th year celebration of that event, and we always kept that night off with a fireworks display, probably one of the best in the area. We'll be using Pyro Productions, like you stated. This is budgeted event for us, and we use sponsorship with that as well. And then Chief Moore and Chief Davis are a huge help in coordinating with us for this event.
All right. Chief Moore, Chief Davis, y'all good? All right. Any further questions or discussion from the council? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. I'm going to try something a little new tonight. Since we have a E911 board meeting monthly, we're going to start recessing from the regular council meeting, go straight into that, and then reconvene. So our regular council meeting is now in recess, and we are convening into the E911 board meeting. Let the record show that all board members are present. Board members, you should have a copy of the minutes of March 5th, 2024 meeting in your packet. I'll entertain a motion to approve March 5th, 2024 E911 board meeting minutes as submitted.
Move to approve the minutes as submitted.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve March 5th, 2024 E911 board meeting minutes as submitted. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now consider approving accounts payable A for March 2024. We'll call for a motion to approve accounts payable A for March 2024 in the amount of $3,702. Is there a motion?
Move to approve accounts payable A for March 2024.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is Is there anything we need to know, Tangi?
No, sir.
All right, any questions from the council? All right. Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. E911 Board meeting is now adjourned, and we will reconvene in our council meeting regular session. Mayor, you have a report for us?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to again congratulate our state spelling bee champion, Aiden, and wish him luck next month at the national tournament. Congratulations again to the Enterprise Boys basketball team and coaches for being the runner-up in the state 7A bracket. Go Cats! Speaking of athletes, a reminder that this Friday is a Special Olympics track and field event. It starts at the Bo Weaver Monument with the torch run and continues to the high school. Speaking of downtown, the Spring Festival at the Monument is next Saturday, April 13th. We invite everyone to enjoy this family-friendly event. This year's theme focuses on the arts. We had a great turnout at the annual Easter egg event at the market, Enterprise Farmers Market. Mark your calendar for May 18th for the peak season kickoff. I would again like to recognize the German liaison office at Fort Novosel. Last week, we rededicated the German Friendship Crest located at Johnny Henderson Family Park. I encourage you all to go out to the park and see the crest and sit on the benches donated by our German friends as a token of appreciation to the city of Enterprise. Speaking of the park, our public works team is doing some maintenance on the pond. Please mind the barriers as you are out there walking or enjoying the park. Work is expected to be completed by the end of next week. Heads up from the water department, Cycle 2 billing customers may not have received their bills on time due to a delay with the postal system. No late fees will be charged to the Cycle 2 billing customers. No late fees. If you have questions about your water bill, please stop by the water department inside City Hall or give them a call. Applications now being accepted for the small box shop. The deadline is April 19th. Small businesses are encouraged to apply to occupy the refurbished shipping container located in the lot next to the library called the Nuke. Main Street Enterprise will present its recommendation on which business should next occupy the space to the council within the next few weeks. Next Thursday, April 11th, is the annual AUSA quarterly meeting here in Enterprise. Major General Michael McCurry will be our guest speaker. Tickets are available through AUSA. This is a wonderful opportunity to support our military community, honor our veterans, and learn what's happening on post at Fort Novosel. Of course, the city is also gearing up for the 40th annual All-In Credit Union car sales here at the Enterprise Civic Center, April 18th through the 21st. We hope you will come out and take advantage of this event. That weekend is also the annual Piney Woods Art Festival, sponsored by Visit Enterprise. There's always something to do in our great city. Stay up to date with what's happening by following the City of Enterprise on Facebook, or you can also visit our website, enterpriseal.gov. I would like to remind you that the agenda packet and minutes from all Enterprise City Council meetings are posted on the Enterprise City website as well. Finally, we are expecting some severe weather tonight. I encourage all of you to check the batteries in your weather radios and ensure you have at least 2 ways to receive alerts. I encourage everyone to be safe and be weather aware. Thank you, Mr. President.
Ms. Rich?
Good to see everyone out tonight. Again, congratulations to Aiden and our high school basketball team. And I have some little visitors here from Georgia visiting me today, my niece and nephew, so I'm glad they came out to check out our city business tonight. Y'all have a good night.
Mr. Coolsby?
Well, I think Mr. Mayor Cooper really covered everything. It's all of the things we got going on. It sounds like a lot. I'd thank everybody for coming tonight. Thank you, Miss Jenny Jones, for your concern about your neighborhood, and we hope that the city can help you with some of those. Thank you all.
Mr. Paget?
Thanks, everyone, for coming. I think everything's been covered. Have a good night.
Thank you for coming, and thank you for everyone that's watching on TV. And I'm going to take off my councilman's hat and put on my Coffee County Community Emergency Response Team Coordinator hat and say, Chief, thank you very much for our recent CERT class number 42. It was a small class, but very vocal, very motivated, and they did a great job. But I'd especially like to thank C-Shift there at Central Fire Station. They provided our training for lifts and carries, which demonstrates how to get somebody out of a building. And they thoroughly enjoyed that, and we got some great pictures, and hopefully you'll have them on your site there. And then, of course, the mayor mentioned the severe weather. Make sure your weather radios are working since it's an overnight event coming in around midnight or so. And God bless y'all. Good night.
All right, thank you. That concludes our business for this evening. We will stand adjourned until 5 p.m. Tuesday, April 16th, 2024, in a work session in this room, immediately followed by a council meeting. See you in a couple of weeks.